y'all, it's Trisha. So I was playing around. I saw a video from Darcy Sanders. She's a designer for PM Artist Studio. And she was doing some tags with the Gesso Resist. And this is not a new technique, but I thought I'd play around with it and see if I could maybe make it something I would want to use. And I can use these little pieces in collage of some kind. So these are all on watercolor paper. And I believe my watercolor paper is 290 grams. So it's fairly thick. And what I've done is I've used gesso as my resist. And I've mostly drawn, these are stencils. These are actually, this was actually a free stencil from PM Artist Studio. Every time you place an order with them, they send you a little freebie. And I really like this little freebie. I wish it was a little bit larger. This was one of them as well. And so I've been playing around with these with watered down acrylic inks and gesso on watercolor paper. Now, I have found that when you use a stencil with this technique, it's hard to get the gesso on thick enough. And so I thought, well, I'll try modeling paste. And it did not turn out very well. And the modeling paste is actually trying to peel up in places. So I don't know if I can save this piece. I do have some of this metallic paste from Art Alchemy. Maybe if it's not, there we go. I can try to make that, but I mean, I can save this and I can use it in collage if I wanted to, but I don't like the way the modeling paste looks on the watercolor paper. You can try it. I found the gesso works better. Now, the gesso doesn't leave you with a very raised surface. It just serves as a resist. Now, you can get more of a raised surface. I put the gesso in these two squeeze bottles. This one has a pretty thick opening, so your lines are going to be thicker. And I put some in this fine line, and I'll show you the difference. This is done, I don't know if you can see the gesso is white on white paper. It's going to be hard to see, but these lines are a little bit thicker than the lines with the other applicator. So either one of these I found work pretty well, and I literally just scribbled on this. So I'm going to get set up to show you how I do these with paint. All right, so to start, I'm just going to take my big tub and I'm just going to literally just make a shape on here, and then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. And it's going to take a while to dry with it being that thick. And then I'll show you with the little squeezy bottle. This is the thicker of, or the broader of the tips. There we go. So that's how I did the drawing on these. And that's pretty simple. These take a while to dry, so I'm going to set those off to the side. So to start, I'll take one of these and decide on colors for these. I have some cheap brushes. I'm going to stick them in the water. Black acrylic paint, and I use black for everything. And I'm also going to put some black in one of these. I have one of these little porcelain trays for paints and watercolors and things like that. Now I'm going to add some quinacridone nickel azo gold, or the new azo gold over here. I've found that I use this a lot. I mix it with black, I mix it with purple, I mix it with all kinds of stuff. It just really adds a more neutralizing agent, I should say. Okay, I'm going to put some dioxazine purple over here. Mixed with the nickel azo gold, it produces a really nice, rich brown color. And what other color? I can put a cool color out here. Let's go with this Viridian green. This paint is very old and very thick. It's not supposed to be that thick. And maybe some green gold over here. And then I want one other color. What other color do I want to put? You know what? I want to try this orange. I haven't tried orange yet, so I want to try the orange. Oh, yuck. You have to pull these off so that your paint will close again. All right, now, let me grab for my water, so sorry. I'm going to add water to all of these because I want a very watery. And this one, I want to add some nickel azo gold to this black over here. Okay. Now, I will warn you, this is a very messy process. I'm just using some relatively cheap brushes that you can get at the store. I think these are little ink brushes for Sumi ink. And I like them for this purpose because it's not they're thick enough and big enough, and I like the way they work. So let's mix a little bit of this, a little bit of this. And I'm going to first go with my dark color that's watered down the middle here. I want the design to be sort of, I guess you would say, outlined a little bit so that it shows. So I'm just going to let this soak in for a minute. And this is one of those trust the process, keep going kind of techniques, because you really do have to trust the process. All right, I think for this one, let's try the dioxazine purple. I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of the quinacridone gold. It's gonna be a little dark, but it won't be dark when we're done. Let's add a little orange to it in some places. This is messy. I forgot to warn you. This is very messy. So now I'm going to take my hairdryer and dry some of this and blot it and dry it and blot it and dry it and add more. It's a process. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to turn off the sound while the blower. And sometimes you can just wipe it down, and you want a thicker watercolor paper so that it can take what you're about to give it, because it's got to be strong enough that you can water it down like this. I'm going to do this again. Give it time for that paint to soak through and kind of go around the edges of your writing, your drawing, or whatever you want to do with it. Now, I have not worked with this orange yet. I do like this orange. So I'm just gonna keep working with this. Hairdryer again. All right, so I am just continuing on. Put some of this down through the middle. Maybe try to pick up a little bit of the black there. And I'm just using a paper towel to kind of blot in here every now and then, because you just keep working back and forth with this until you like the results that you get. If you want it a little brighter in some areas, if you want it a little darker. Now this is going to dry just a little bit lighter than what you see, so I know it looks like I'm using a lot of paint and a lot of water, but I'm not using that much paint because it's watered down. Now, I will say that I do work on glass, so while this is really easy for me to clean up, I want to make sure that I pick up this card every now and then because it will stick to the bottom of the table if I don't. So if you're working on plexiglass or anything like that, you might want to be aware of that it might stick to your surface. I think I'm getting this to the point where I'm happy with it. Because for me, these are going to be little elements that I add to collage. And I needed some more collage, little things that I could make to add to some of my pieces later. Or photograph them and use them digitally. So I think this one is probably good. And I'm going to let this dry the rest of the way on its own. So I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. All right, so now let's take another one and let's work with maybe a different color. Oh, I meant to say, with the watercolor paper, it's got a rough side and a smooth side. I am working on the rough side. I don't know if that makes a difference. I do not have any experience with a lot of water mediums, so I'm not really an expert in that. Although I would love to try. I've seen some people use watercolors lately that are inspiring me to get some and try it out. Okay. Let that go in there like that. What color do I want to do? Maybe this Viridian green. It's a pretty color. And I like how when it mixes with the black, it takes on a different look. Now this is mostly water, so I may want to get a little thicker. You just have to play with this. Okay, dryer again. All right, I think I added too much water to my green paint, which I can no longer find. Where did it go? Oh, please. Oh, here it is. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint because I think I added too much water. You have to kind of play around with your paint mixtures depending on how saturated you want the color to be. I do find the big thing that I am using today, these are all transparent paints. I find that does make a difference. I've tried using more opaque paints. Oh, what is that? That is a husky hair. So sorry. I find using the opaque paints didn't give me the result that I wanted, so that's why. I add a little bit more quinacridone gold. do this. Okay. I'm going to dry this a little bit and set it aside, and we'll bring back the first one that we were working on. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for a little while and let it continue to dry on its own a little bit and bring back the first one that we were doing. All right, this one is almost dry. I'm going to dry it just a little bit more and take a look at it. So I really like a lot of things that are going on, and I tried a different color. I added the purple in here to get the brownish tone, and I do like this. I tend to work more in neutrals than in bright colors, although I could go back and forth easily, but right now I'm in my neutral mode, so I do like this. And if you want, you can take your finger, and because this is slightly raised, you can use some gold paint or anything metallic over the top if you choose, or even use white paint if you want. Whatever color suits your piece that you're going to add this to, I think that would look great. So let's look at the second one. Let's get it dry and take a look at it. All right, I'm going to make a few more and fast forward. To me, these all have a very ancient, antique look to them, and I'm going to enjoy combining these with different papers in different collages. So these are the two we made today. Where's the other one? And here it is. So I hope you've enjoyed this process. It's a very, very quick video on doing these little guys. I like all of them. So I hope to see you in the next video. Y'all have a great week. Bye.